Most people try to earn more money by working harder. More hours, more effort, more grind. But wealth doesn't follow effort, it always follows identity. The day my life changed wasn't the day I learned a new strategy. It was the day I became unavailable to operate at the same standard I always had. Today I'm giving you the Complete Millionaire Mindset Playbook, 7 shifts that took me from $150,000 in debt to building a multi-million-dollar company. And here's what most people never understand about these 7 shifts. Your results don't change when you get more information. You can Google information, you can watch 1,000 videos, you can read every book on the planet. Your results change when you become a person who expects, who attracts, and creates wealth. That's a completely different game entirely. I've coached well over 100,000 people in over 100 countries in my career. And I can tell you with certainty, the gap between where you are and where you want to be isn't time, isn't talent, it's always identity. These 7 shifts are identity upgrades. They're not tactics, they're not hacks, they're not motivation. They're new ways of thinking that will alter the trajectory of your life if you let them in, truly in. By the end of this video, you're going to have the complete playbook. And I've also created a free PDF version that you can download and read every single day to condition these shifts into your subconscious mind. But first, let me take you back to the moment I realized everything I believed about money was completely wrong. Years ago, I was at a seminar. I was struggling more than I'd ever struggled in my life. I was drowning in information. I'd read every book, watched every video, attended every event that I could, and I thought I knew all the concepts. But my bank account told a completely different story. I was $150,000 in debt. I wasn't moving forward. I was literally spinning no matter how hard I was trying. I remember sitting in that room thinking, what's wrong with me? Why isn't any of this working? Then the speaker, who would later become my mentor, Bob Proctor, put up a slide that stopped me cold in my tracks. And it said, you can create your own economy. Something inside of me shifted. My attention got so wide awake. I sat up straighter. I felt awake for the first time in months. Then he put up this next slide. Turn your annual income into your monthly income. My first reaction was, is this real? I had so much doubt because my results were staring me in the face. I go, is that really possible? Is some people doing this or a lot of people doing this? This isn't for someone like me. But underneath that doubt, something else was happening. I started playing with the idea in my mind, and it created a spark inside of me, so much inspiration and enthusiasm. And it was a question that would change everything moving forward in my life. What if this was actually possible? What if the limits I believe I have aren't real at all? Something inside of me shifted. I sat up straighter. I felt awake for the first time in months. I started working with an idea of what if this is possible. Then he put up this next slide. You can turn your annual income into your monthly income. My first reaction was, that's impossible. That's for other people, not for someone like me. But underneath that doubt, and I had significant amount of doubt, something else was happening. A spark. Something happened inside of me that has woken me up since that moment. A question that would change everything. What if what he is saying is actually possible? What if I could do it? What if the limits I believe I have aren't real at all? That question consumed me for weeks. I couldn't shake it. All I could think about was, how can I turn my annual income into my monthly income? Beknownst to me, I got emotionally involved with that idea. And here's what I want you to understand. That question was the beginning of my transformation. It wasn't a strategy. It wasn't a tactic. It was an idea that sparked me, a question that challenged my identity. So let me ask you right now, what income do you think is realistic for you? And who told you that number? Was it you? Or was it your old programming? Was it your circumstances? Was it your environment? Because that number you're holding in your head, it's not a fact, it's a belief. And beliefs can be changed. That moment was my awakening. But an awakening means nothing without a decision. And the decision I made next was the hardest conversation I've ever had with myself. A few weeks later, I stood in my kitchen and finally told myself the truth. It was brutal, and it was the most important moment of my financial life. I remember exactly where I was standing, kitchen, alone, staring at nothing. And I said out loud to myself what I'd been avoiding for years. What I'm doing isn't working. I'm not following through on what I know. I felt like a complete fraud. Have you ever had that moment where you finally admit the gap between who you're pretending to be and who you actually are showing up as? It's painful, but that honesty became my power. Truth and honesty is where change is activated, because you cannot change what you refuse to see. Most people spend years protecting themselves from that truth. They blame the economy, they blame the industry, they blame their circumstances. But the truth is always simpler. It's you. It's always you. You are always the only problem you're ever going to have and the only solution. And the moment you accept that, you get your power back. Right there in my kitchen, I made one decision that ended up changing my life. I became unavailable to operate at the same standard I always had. Not I'll try harder, not I'll start on Monday. I became unavailable for mediocrity, unavailable for excuses, unavailable for the old version of me. That decision was the first domino. Everything shifted after that. I had a client, Thomas, who was in a similar place. Smart guy, knew all the right things, but he'd been about to break through for 3 years. When I asked him what was stopping him, he gave me a list: his market, his competition, his schedule. I said, Thomas, when was the last time you told yourself the truth about what's really going on? He went quiet. A week later, he sent me a message. Arash, I finally admitted I've been hiding behind being busy because I'm scared to go all in. Within 6 months, he doubled his income. Not because he learned something new, but because he made a decision to go all in and bet on himself. And he became unavailable for his own excuses. Now, what would change if you became unavailable for the standard you've been tolerating? What would change if you stopped being loyal to your comfort zone and to your old self? Now, let me give you the 7 shifts, the Complete Millionaire Mindset Playbook. These are the identity upgrades that changed everything. Shift number 1 is where 90% of people fail, and it has nothing to do with strategy. Your mindset always creates your money. Your income will never exceed your identity. You don't change your life by doing more. You change your life by becoming a different person internally. Money is not a doing game. Money is an identity game. Every dollar you earn is a direct reflection of your self-worth, your standard, your internal permission for abundance, and what you believe you deserve. Here's how I explain it. Identity is the thermostat, money is the temperature. If you set a thermostat at 70 degrees and the room gets too hot, what happens? The air conditioning kicks in and brings it back down. If it gets too cold, the heat kicks in and brings it back up. Your identity works the same way with money. If you see yourself as someone who gets by, you will attract opportunities that match that level. Every time you exceed it, something will happen to bring you back down to your baseline. But if you see yourself as a person who leads, a person who creates, a person who expands and contributes, your result will shift to match that image. I had a client named Marcus who experienced this firsthand. He was earning $15,000 a month, solid income, but he was stuck. Every time he'd hit $18,000 or $20,000 a month, something would happen. A client would cancel, a deal would fall through. He thought it was bad luck. I knew better. We dug into his internal world. Marcus grew up in a household where $15,000 a month would have been unthinkable wealth. His father never earned more than $40,000 a year. Subconsciously, Marcus felt like earning more than $15,000 a month was betraying his upbringing. His thermostat was set there. Within 6 months, he crossed $35,000 a month and it held. It became his new baseline. If you want to earn more, don't ask, how do I make more money? Ask, how can I make myself more valuable? Ask, who must I become for the results I want to feel inevitable? When your identity rises, your income follows. It's law. Now here is shift number 2. I want you to lock in here because this is where most people's income gets permanently stuck because they're playing by the wrong rules entirely. Shift number 2 will change how you look at every hour of your day. Money comes from value, not time. You get paid for the size of the problem you solve, not the hours you work. Most people are trading their time for money and wonder why they're stuck. They think harder work equals more income. It doesn't. Time does not create wealth. Value creation creates wealth. 2 people can work the same hours. One earns $50,000 a year. One earns $500,000. Same time invested, completely different value delivered. Money flows to people who solve painful problems, people who move others closer to their desired future, people who reduce complexity, fear, or uncertainty, people who create clarity, speed, and confidence. I had to learn this the hard way. I used to wear my exhaustion like a badge of honor. I'm so busy. I work so hard. I'd say it like I was waiting for someone to give me a medal. Nobody gave me a medal. They just gave me more work at the same pay. It wasn't until I started asking different questions that things changed. When you understand this shift, you stop asking, how do I make more per hour? And you start asking, what problem can I solve that is emotionally, mentally, or financially expensive for people, and how deeply can I solve it? Your income scales with the magnitude of the problem you solve and the development of your mindset and skill set. You want to collapse time? Become a person who solves meaningful problems. Here is shift number 3, and this shift changed my life faster than anything else in this playbook. Proximity is always the greatest shortcut. Environment is stronger than willpower. If you want to transform fast, and I mean at warp speed, you've got to change your environment. Change who you're around. Change the conversations you're in. You cannot create a millionaire identity in an environment that supports scarcity, fear, low standard, or average thinking. Proximity upgrades identity faster than any tactic. Now here's why. You borrow the belief of your environment. You normalize excellence. You see what's possible. You operate at a higher standard automatically, and you stop negotiating against your potential. When I first got proximity to my mentor, I was skeptical. I had done a lot of things that didn't work. And I will be honest with you, I didn't even know that this was going to work. I thought, what can he tell me that I haven't already tried? Everything. He could literally tell me everything because books give you information, proximity gives you transformation. A mentor collapses decades into days by transferring experience, awareness, and standards. Within 30 days of following his direction, I was earning what I used to make in months. The same me, the same market, different proximity. I had a client, Rena, who was stuck at $8,000 a month for 2 years. She tried everything, new offers, new marketing, new messaging, studying more and more information. But what finally moved her? She joined a room of people earning $50,000 per month. Within 4 months, she crossed $30,000 a month. Same skills, same offer, new proximity. When you place yourself in proximity to someone who's living the results you desire, your mind must expand to match it. Proximity pulls you forward. Distance keeps you stuck. Who are you surrounding yourself with right now? Are they pulling you up or keeping you comfortable? This is shift number 4. And number 4 goes deeper than strategy into the invisible force that actually governs your financial reality. Now this is shift number 4. And shift number 4 goes deeper than strategy into the invisible force that actually governs your financial reality. Shift number 4 is where most people get uncomfortable. And that discomfort is exactly why they stay stuck. Money is always a spiritual idea before it's material. You attract what you believe, not what you wish for. Money responds to your inner state. It responds to your speed. It responds to your focus. It responds to your standard. It responds to your confidence and certainty, and it always responds to belief. Before anything shows up physically, it must always be accepted spiritually, internally by you. You've got to accept the idea of what you want more than anything else, and you've got to accept that your success is guaranteed. This is absolutely critical. Most people try to create wealth while holding beliefs that contradict wealth. I'm not ready. I'm not good enough. Who am I to charge that price? What if I fail? Think of these beliefs. These are all counter intentions to what your goal and what wealth demands. These beliefs block abundance before it ever has a chance to reach you. Let me give you an example. I had a client who kept saying, Arash, I just need to figure out my strategy. We worked on strategy for weeks. Nothing changed. Then I asked her, do you actually believe you deserve to earn $50,000 a month? She paused. Right there I knew. The pause tells me that she didn't believe it on a subconscious level. Then she said, honestly, part of me thinks that's greedy. Another double binding message. These counter intentions and double binding messages are what was blocking her success. There it was. She was trying to build external wealth with an internal belief that wealth was wrong for her. Her spirit was rejecting what her strategy was trying to create. We didn't change her strategy. We changed her permission. We changed the type of ideas she was accepting on a deep subconscious level. We rewired her relationship with what she deserved. Now she started getting emotionally involved that she deserved all that she wanted, and she stopped sending out these double binding messages. And what happened? 3 months later, she had her first $50,000 month. Now, if you want more amazing content like this, you want to hit like and subscribe. You want to click the link below, and don't forget that you're going to get this full free PDF. And this is going to change your life. You want to stay on this channel and binge it. All right, now let's get back to it. You must decide you are a wealthy person before wealth ever shows up. Identity first, decision first, belief first. That's the formula. The external world reorganizes around the person you decide to become. Money is a spiritual idea before it's ever material. And when you make the internal shift, the external shift has no choice but to follow. These next two shifts, 5 and 6, work so closely together. They're the engine that actually brings money in the door. Shift number 5 changed how I think about everything I offer. Sell transformation, not information. People don't buy the product, they buy who they become. Information is not valuable anymore. You can get information from anywhere. But transformation, that's what everybody wants. Identity elevation. The version of you who is more confident, more capable, more courageous, and more committed. That is priceless. When you sell anything, whether it's an idea, product, or service, you're not selling modules or videos or worksheets or PDFs. You're selling a new life. You're selling a new identity, a new standard, a new level of self-belief, a new future for your prospects. People always invest in the person they believe they will become on the other side. When I stopped talking about what I teach and started talking about who people became, my sales more than doubled, then tripled. Nobody cares about your process. They care about their result. If your idea, product, or service upgrades identity, it's a transformational offer. And transformational offers will always outperform informational ones. Now let's dive into shift 6. This is going to take you even deeper. And if you have a poor relationship with selling, this is going to set you free. Shift number 6 took me years to understand, and it completely transformed my relationship with money and success. Sales is always service. Sales is always about helping someone step into their highest potential. Sales is not persuasion. Sales is leadership. Money always follows leadership. Sales is helping someone remove their false beliefs and limitations that have held them back for far too long. When you sell with integrity, you're saying, I see more in you than you're currently acting on. My idea, product, or service is going to transform your life. Let's move. I had a client named David, a financial planner, brilliant at what he did. His clients loved him, but he couldn't grow because he refused to sell. He thought it was pushy and sleazy. One day I asked him, David, do you believe you can help people? Do you believe you're great at what you do? He said, absolutely. I've changed lives. I said, then isn't it selfish to not tell them? If you have the solution to their problem and you stay quiet because you're uncomfortable, who does that serve? He went quiet. There was dead silence. That reframe changed everything. He stopped seeing sales as taking and started seeing it as serving. His practice doubled in 8 months, not because he learned a new script, because he realized that selling is helping. Sales is vision. Sales is belief. Sales is commitment. Sales is courage. Sales is service. When you understand that, you stop selling and start serving people in their greatness. The greatest gift you can give someone is the awareness of who they can become. That's what real sales is. Now, the last shift, 7, is the one that protects everything else. Miss this, and the whole playbook falls apart. Shift number 7 is the invisible asset most people are hemorrhaging without realizing it. Wealth always follows focus. The clearer the target, the faster the results. Distraction is the enemy of wealth. Most people don't fail because they're not talented. They fail because they're unfocused. One day they're committed, the next day they're distracted and overwhelmed. Then they're overthinking, then they're comparing, then they're starting over. Sound familiar? Let me ask you something right now, and be honest. How many tabs do you have open on your browser? How many apps sent you a notification while you've been watching this video? How many times did your mind drift to something else? That's the leak. That's wealth literally walking out the door. Wealth requires single-minded intention, consistency, deep work, concentrated energy, and the discipline to eliminate the noise. Focus is a financial multiplier. I want you to lock that in. When your attention is locked on the vision, when your actions match the identity you're stepping into, when you eliminate everything that isn't connected to your purpose, momentum becomes automatic. I had to learn this the hard way. I used to think productivity meant doing more. Now I know productivity means protecting more. Every time you check your phone unconsciously, you're leaking wealth. Every time you scroll instead of executing, you're leaking wealth. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't serve you, you're leaking wealth. You don't chase wealth, you attract it through the power of your focus. What is the one thing that you want right now more than anything else in this world? And how much of your day is actually dedicated to it? If you're honest, the answer might hurt. Good. Let it hurt, then fix it. Now let me bring this all together for you, because knowing the shifts isn't enough. Integration is what creates the millions. You are not separated from the result you want by time or talent. You are separated only by identity. Integrate these 7 shifts and your life will never be the same. It will transform. Let's recap the Millionaire Mindset Playbook. Shift number 1, your mindset creates your money. Identity is the thermostat. Money is the temperature. Ask yourself, who must I become for the results I want to feel inevitable? Shift number 2, money always comes from value, not time. You get paid for the size of the problem you solve. Become a person who solves meaningful problems. Shift number 3, proximity is the greatest shortcut to success. A mentor collapses decades into days. Environment is stronger than willpower. Get in the right room. Shift number 4, money is always a spiritual idea before it's material. You attract what you believe, not what you wish for. Decisions first, identity first, belief first. Shift number 5, sell transformation, not information. People don't buy the product, they buy who they want to become. Shift number 6, sales is service. Sales is leadership. I see more in you than you're currently acting on. Let's move. And shift number 7, wealth always follows focus. Focus is a financial multiplier. Protect your attention like the asset it is. Your mindset creates your money. Your identity sets your ceiling. Your proximity determines your pace. Your focus determines your future. You have a calling. You have a gift. You have the potential to create a quantum leap in your life faster than you think. Now, here's what I want you to do. I've created a free PDF of this entire Millionaire Mindset Playbook, all 7 shifts, plus your step-by-step implementation path. Here's how to use it. Read it every single day for 7 straight days. Repetition reprograms identity. Let these ideas sink into your subconscious mind until they become who you are, not someone you're trying to remember. Now, click the link in the description or the pinned comment, download it, print it, put it somewhere you'll see it every day. And here's my question for the comments. Which of these 7 shifts hit you the hardest? Which one is your greatest gap that you need to close right now? Write it below, because the moment you identify it, you can fix it. Most people will watch this and do nothing. You're not them. They'll feel inspired for an hour and forget by tomorrow. But you're not most people. You already know you're meant for more. You wouldn't still be watching if something inside of you wasn't calling you forward. Answer the call. Act on it. Step into it. Become it. Because the moment you say, I am this person now, and my results will align with my identity, everything begins to accelerate. I'm in your corner. I have your back. Now let's build your breakthrough. Now, if you want to go deeper on any of these shifts, I've got you covered. In this next video, I'm breaking down the exact morning routine that programs your mind for wealth, the same process I've done every day for over a decade. Click it now. Your transformation is waiting for your decision.